Players that won't work today are Assimile and Sammy. Everyone else will work in some capacity today. Thanks.
Hey, Coach, are you ready for us?
Ready.
All right, we'll start with Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Dave, how you doing today?
Adam, what's up?
Hey, wanted to ask you about Tommy Townsend. I'm guessing you're pretty happy with how he's hitting the ball when you need some distance, but still hasn't mastered the killing the ball inside the 20. I know all guys are different, but how's he doing with that? What's reasonable to expect from him in terms of a time frame of him sort of getting that down?
Well, we like for him to get it down this week. I mean, perfectly, in a perfect world. But he's a work in progress. But I tell you, I'm really excited about his talent. I mean, he's got a great leg, really good kick, a really good punt leg, and he's a guy he's going to continue to get better and better every day. In practice, he looks good. I mean, he's down and getting those balls inside, inside the 20, inside the 10 on a consistent basis. We haven't had a lot of rugby punts. The punts that we had in that last game were backed up. He had one rugby where he hit it out of bounds, where it wasn't a good kick last week. But I'm just really pleased the way he's coming along, and he's getting better and better. Hopefully this week we can get a couple inside the 20.
Let's go next to Seren Petro. Go ahead, Seren.
Coach, just a question about the onside kick. I know we've seen kind of a new phenomenon of setting the ball, flat, and we've seen that spin in the Falcons, how it worked out for the Cowboys. Looked like you were trying to maybe take advantage of that, and you got the hands team out there, so there's that big gap in the middle, and maybe it just got hit a little long. You looking for was that the intention? Looking for that sweet spot in between to get everybody on the run, diving for the ball?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question because there was 4 minutes and change on the clock. I know that. We had 2 timeouts. So I talked to Andy before that, and I said, hey, do you want to kick it deep? And he agreed, yeah, we'll kick it deep. But I said, but we have a little special kick that we wanted to try there because Booker has a special talent that he's able to hit guys up on the front line. He can target a player and hit him with a line drive shot. So that's really what we tried to do on that play. Knowing that if it goes by, he doesn't hit him, and it goes by him, and it goes deep. We're pinning him deep too, just like we wanted to. So we were trying to, trying 2 things in one kick with that one. And actually, if you go back and look at the tape, the ball actually went through the guy's legs that we were aiming at. The guy, he had no idea. You can't prepare for. You can't get out of the way fast enough. The ball, you're only 10 yards away, and that ball comes at you, over 80 miles an hour, and that ball, it almost would have hit. It almost hit him. It should have hit him, and it didn't. That's where the luck factor comes in. If it hits the guy, we come up with it, and we're all happy because we got a great onside kick. It doesn't hit him. It goes by him. It goes deep. Now we still could play defense because we got 2 timeouts left. So that was the whole idea on that. We just didn't get the ball to hit the guy, and then the ball could have been a little bit deeper as far as hitting it just a little bit harder, which would have been perfect. But overall, I thought the execution of it was pretty good.
And just as a follow-up, how many, not to use another golf analogy with you this week, but how many kicks, how many clubs in the bag are there for the onside kick? Is it 2, 5, 10? How many different little versions you got?
He's got a lot. He works at it. He'll take our typical Friday practice in the afternoon. He'll spend about a half hour just doing a bunch of different kicks. So we've got a whole bunch of different things that come up in different situations, and that situation right there was the perfect situation for that kick. It just didn't work out.
Like we've got 2 more hands up. We'll go Pete Sweeney and then Sam. Go ahead, Pete.
Coach, the Watkins injury stands out a bit because you guys like to use both Hill and Hardman back there. Occasionally Hill, now more. If it came to it, which it may not, but if it came to it, I was just curious who would be third in line for kick return and why have they achieved that?
Yeah, we have a number of guys that can do it. If you watched in that game, we had Fenton back there too, and I was hoping that they would kick it to him, and they didn't. They kicked the touchback. I put him out there early to show it that, hey, you know, they never know anything about this guy. Maybe they'll kick to him. They didn't. But we have a number of guys. I mean, Pringle's a guy that, you know, I feel very confident in. Those guys are out there every day. We're out there catching kickoffs and punts. And, you know, D-Rob's another guy. He could be a punt returner, kick returner. So we have a number of guys that can do it. You know, right now, you know, McCole is still our best guy. You know, we'll use him if it's a situation where we couldn't go, we'd go another route.
Next to Sam Mellinger. Go, Sam.
Hey, Dave. First, I hope the play call on that is dodgeball or something like that.
I tell you, it keeps you on alert up there. So.
You've been really good talking about Butker's kicking. And last week when we were talking to you, you said you guys figured out what it was that he was missing and you got it corrected. And obviously he was perfect. Could you expand on just what you guys found, like what little technical thing you guys found and fixed in his kicking?
Well, I mean, we talked about it. It was more of a, like, I think it was his target, you know, and he gets so close and he doesn't hit the ball the same as he would on a deeper kick. You need to stay aggressive on the short kicks as well. You know, you have to have the same stroke, and he was coming with a slightly different stroke on a shorter kick because he didn't need as much leg power. And it's kind of like trying to place it in there instead of just throwing it in there, you know. And he, you know, we worked on that, and I think we got that ironed out for him.
Coach, we appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us.
Okay, take care.
All right, guys, we got Coach Spags coming your way next. Hey, Coach.
Hey, Brad.
You ready for us?
Yep. I'm just going to
Okay.
open up and let them fire away.
Okay, let's start with Kim Jones. Go ahead, Kim.
Hey Spags, it's Kim. I'm happy to get to talk to you again.
Kim?
What stands out?
Just lost it, Brad.
Oh, Kim, let's see if we can give it another shot. We lost audio on you. Try it one more time.
How about now? Am I back?
Yep.
We got it.
you.
Okay, I didn't touch anything, I promise. Spags, it's great to see you
You
again.
too. You too.
I'm curious what stands out to you about Josh Allen, in particular, his relationship with Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, I mean, look at it. It's obviously there's chemistry there, Kim. Instant, you know, because they really haven't been together a long time. Didn't have the off season. You'd think it'd be a little, but they came right out of the blocks. And obviously, it's because you got a real good talent at quarterback, and he's obviously a talented receiver. But it's impressive to me. It really is.
Let's go next to Herbie Teope. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Coach, along those same lines with that wide receiver core, especially in light of the type of game that you guys came off last week, it looks like the Bills will get John Brown back this week. He was able to practice yesterday and today. And so what are some of the challenges you see looking at that triple-headed Bills wide receiver core with Diggs, Beasley, and Brown?
Yeah, they've got three of them that we got to be concerned about. You can't double them all, then you don't have any players left to either stop the run or rush the passer. So we got to pick our spots. I mean, we got guys that we're going to try to line up in their play. We'll try to mix it up a little bit. I'm not so sure there's anything else you can do other than that. And somehow, some way, we need to affect the quarterback where we don't give him all that time and he hit those weapons that he's got downfield. Because look, they've got him all over the place. And with 15 coming back, it just creates another headache.
Go next to Seren Petra. Go ahead, Seren.
Coach, I'm curious, kind of a follow-up on the speed receivers there with the Bills. The Raiders, how much of the success they had was maybe them giving you a whole new look? We heard kind of some of the other guys talking about, I know Chris Jones talked about some of the new formations they had. How much did they maybe have that game circled and for 4 weeks we're playing a little possum and unleashed a lot of new stuff on you there?
Well, I don't know if it was as much that as I'm not sure we executed like we normally do. There's a play in there or call in there I'd like to have back that resulted in one of those long passes. So I don't think that's on the players or anything that the Raiders did. We didn't execute as well as we had in prior games. And when you do that, and if you don't execute, obviously, in the back end really well, it can result in explosive pass plays. And we just got to make sure we limit those to give ourselves a chance to play better defense.
Go next to Therese Paler. Go ahead, Therese.
Hey, Spags, how you doing, man?
Good.
Hey, quick. I got a dorky football question for you. I try to watch a lot of football every week, and it feels like every week I'm watching teams just run over routes like crazy. Just medium range, deep range. I was hoping you could help me understand, A, are we seeing more of them? And B, why are they so effective? And C, just generally, how can defensive backs contest these?
Yeah, I think you're right that we are seeing a lot of them. I think part of it is, look, it's a little bit of a copycat league, and I think some offensive coaches see other guys have success with it. I've always felt with that A, you got to have somebody that has enough speed to get over there, and if you don't, you got to have an offensive line that can give the quarterback time. But I think we got offenses in this league that have that, and or the quarterback can buy extra time. And is it challenging to the defense? Yeah, if you're in man, a lot of times it's hard to stay with a guy that fast on an overdrag, especially if you're outside leverage. So there's a lot that goes into it. You'd think that zone coverage would be best against it. And that you're going to rely on somebody on the backside having good zone eyes. But I think you're right in what you're saying. We call them burners or speedos. There's a lot of those around the league now. I think with receivers that have the speed to get over there real quick, it makes it real challenging for us.
Next to Nate Taylor. Go ahead, Nate.
Hey, Steve, wanted to ask about your blitzes so far this year. From a percentage standpoint, do you feel like the blitzes are pertaining most to the quarterback in anticipation of the pass, or how much do you feel like you're having to blitz in order to contain some of the running lanes that might be available to a running back?
Yeah, as you're asking the question, I'm kind of going back to last year where we kind of added some run blitzes that I thought helped us as the season went on. We have them for both. I didn't feel like we could get to enough of them last week. Some of it's dictated by down and distance, and like I'm always telling the guys that you earn the right rush to pass, or you got to be good on first and second down to get in those obvious passing situations, and then try to do some things that might challenge the quarterback or the offensive line. So part of our challenge is being better on first and second down.
Next to Harold Kuntz. Go ahead, Harold.
Hey, Spags. When it comes to Sunday's performance, and then you see a performance like that, and then you don't see the defensive line getting any pressure, getting back there. Frank Clark specifically, went up against Colton, a guy that he usually dominated. It went the complete opposite. Does it kind of take you back and you have to reset some things, or do you just kind of say, all right, we're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Just going forward, we need to just change a couple things here or there.
Yeah, I mean, you got to look at it. That's what we do. That's what coaches do. But you can't hit the panic button. If you believe in what you're doing, you stick with what you're doing. You just do it better. We didn't do too much different than we had in previous weeks. We just didn't do it as well. One of the things I shared with the players, and it was amazing to me, from play 21 to play 29, that's a 9-play swing there. We gave up 214 yards and 21 points. That's when you do that in the course of a game, that's hard to recover from. So there were some things that just didn't go right there. Boom, boom. It kind of rolled downhill on us. I thought we recovered decently in the third quarter and then just couldn't close it out in the fourth quarter. But, dude, we're not going to panic. We're not going to throw everything out. We're just going to try to do it better.
I think we've got 3 more hands up. We'll right down the line. Todd Lebo, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, I know you can't go back and change what happened last week, but what have you seen from your guys this week, meetings on the practice field? Have they responded the way you'd like to see after a game like that?
Yeah, great question, and absolutely. I love this group. There's a lot of character here. There's a lot of pride here, and nobody feels worse about it than the players that were out there playing. In particular, yesterday, we had a walkthrough. It's a 30-minute walkthrough. We just got done one for today that I thought it was the best we've had in a year and a half that we've been here. So I've never questioned the guys' effort. I've never questioned the preparation. We just got to go out there and make sure that we do things that we have executed during the week and just do them really well.
Let's go next to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Good afternoon, Coach. Unique question for you here. You've gone up against Lev Bell 5 times in your long career. Was curious what you remember about those times and that having to defend him, and what was your reaction yesterday when you found out now he's on your offensive side of the football?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's great always to accumulate good football players, and I've got a lot of respect for Le'Veon Bell. I mean, I haven't seen him or gone against him in a long time, but I just remember him a headache. He was so challenging to stop in that what we call dual play that the Pittsburgh Steelers ran, where he would just sit back there and pick and weave, and no matter what you did, it felt like you couldn't stop him for less than 6-7 yards. So a lot of respect for him. Good football player. I'm sure our offensive guys over here will be really happy to have him.
The last, Sam McDowell. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Steve. Hey, they had 3 big pass plays on Sunday, and we see the final product and what the coverage ends up being. But I'm wondering, from your perspective, did the final product, was that the coverages you would call? Were guys out of place there? Or did they just not execute the coverage? What was your breakdown of those?
Well, one was a bad call. In all honesty, I thought I put CW in a bad situation. If I had to do that over again, I would not do that. The 2 others, and they're going back and forth in my head. I mean, look, it's never one person on an explosive pass play, because typically a long explosive pass play takes a little bit of time to develop. So somebody up front has got to take onus on it. I thought listen, I'm going to give the quarterback some credit here too, and the wide receivers. Those are good football players that we went against. But can we stop those plays? Yes, with the calls that we made, except for the one that I'm talking about that I'm responsible for. I just believe we got to do a little bit better, do a little bit faster, and we'll be okay.
Coach, we appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
We got Coach EB coming up in a second here. Hey, Coach, we are ready when you are.
All right. Good afternoon. How y'all doing?
Good.
I know there's been some discussion about a particular player. I'm going to defer all that those questions to Coach and Brett Veach, because right now our focus as a team, we'll focus on the Buffalo Bills. We got to get this chip off our shoulder and make sure we go out and play up to expectations. So with that said, I'm all ears.
Let's start with Matt McMullen. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Coach. So you mentioned that chip on your shoulder. Tough loss last week, but now you have an opportunity here to go out there and get back on track. How much do you guys relish that opportunity to get back on track against a good football team here in the Bills, particularly under the lights in front of the country?
You always relish that opportunity. Anytime you come off a tough loss, the first thing that you want to do, you want the opportunity to go back the next day. You wish that you can just line up on a Tuesday and just go out there and play after watching all the mistakes that we made and the things that we didn't do. So when it's all said and done with, the good thing is that we have time in between to clean up the mistakes, making sure as a coaching staff that we're addressing the things that need to be addressed and that we're doing our part as well and making sure that our guys can go out and play up to the level that we expect them to play at.
Next to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Good afternoon, Coach. Just a general question about running backs. You've been doing this a long time as both a player and coach. What have you made of how it's evolved from what used to be a bell cow guy to a lot of teams you're seeing nowadays are doing this 1, 2, even sometimes 3 type of punch style?
Well, I know when I played, you can never have enough good players. So you want to make sure that you have great depth at every particular position, because you never know when the next man is going to be called upon to play that role. So whether it's 2 playing that throughout the course of the game, sometimes it's 3 with a third down back included. The thing that you want to do is make sure that you have the right amount of ammo to go out there and to help you to be as prolific as you can be. So don't matter. Talent is talent. You want to make sure that regardless of position, that you're ready to go.
Let's go next to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Eric, a couple things. First of all, the player you don't want to talk about, what does his addition mean for Clyde? And specifically, is this any kind of reflection on Clyde and how he's doing and what you're seeing from him? And Brad, I'll have a quick follow-up.
Well, I'll answer this like this. First of all, we drafted Clyde for a reason. Okay. Clyde is doing a heck of a job. The rest of that, Adam, I'm going to allow Coach to address that because, you know, he's the head coach for a reason and Brett Veach is the general manager for a reason. Then after they address all that, I'll make sure that I jump in. Okay. But Clyde is doing a heck of a job. We have been very proud of what our guys have put on tape.
Fair enough. And also, I wanted to ask you about Sammy Watkins. As you know, a lot of the numbers show you guys are way more productive when he's on the field and in the game than when he's hurt and out of the lineup. Are there some things he does that maybe don't show up on the stat sheet that make you guys a more productive offense?
Well, you just got to understand this. Just kind of piggybacks on the question with what was asked earlier about the running backs. So when you have all the talented players out on one field at one particular time, those defenses got to pick and choose what they want to defend. And so when we're at our full strength, we're tough to stop. All right. And a lot of times, sometimes we become our own worst enemy. But when he's not in, it's time for the next man to step up. And we have some capable guys that have played exceptional, you know, here, you know, in D-Rob and in Pringle. I mean, we've had a lot of guys step to the plate. So we're counting on those guys to step up. Coach Greg Lewis has done a great job of raising those guys. Those guys will be ready.
Go next to Aaron Ladd. Go ahead, Aaron.
EB, it seems like every morning I wake up, there's a new positive test around the league. And I'm just curious, how different is your preparation, whether that's virtual meetings, behind the scenes, with the thinking that we could lose a day inside the facility at any moment in time?
Well, there's always a contingency plan. And right now we're always available to utilize those plans. Best thing that happened is that Zoom took over, or webinar and WebEx. So we've also become very efficient with that. So if something was to happen, we'll still have the ability to function. We'll still have the availability to make sure that we can teach and coach and make sure that our players are very aware of what we want to do. But right now, we just got to make sure that we're taking all the safety precautions to make sure that it doesn't infect or come into the building. And our organization have done a heck of a job of doing it the right way. So we just want to make sure that we're staying the course, everybody making the right decisions outside of the building and being accountable, because at the end of the day, okay, indirectly, we all have a great impact on one another. So accountability goes further than any other time or any other moment in the history of that I've been associated with this league.
Next is Sam Mellinger. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Eric, your guys on both sides of the ball, but you guys on offense too, kind of have a track record by now of rising to the moment and responding when you get knocked a little bit. I'm just curious from your point of view, from a coach's perspective, like what does a group have to, have that characteristic? And when did you first start to notice that?
You know what? It's our team has a great resolve, and they have a grit about them. And sometimes when you've been knocked down, you find a way to pick up the pieces and just rally. Since we've been here, we've had some tough losses. We've had to deal with some tough times at times. And I know that if you look at our record, we've had a great deal of success, quote unquote, but we've had some tough losses. And so through that, you learn. And I think more than anything that our guys have learned, and the reason why they're resilient, is that they understand the big picture. I think sometimes that the big picture can get lost in the shuffle, and the human element allows, and the human element is allowed to impact and come in the building, which becomes a distraction. And so one thing we want to make sure of is that all of our guys are eliminating the distractions, eliminate the outside crowd noise, all these people telling you what they think you should be doing, or being the outside coach. So one thing that we've done a great job is making sure that our guys stay true to who they are, but also eliminate the outside noise and focusing on the task, right? And that's just being assignment sound, making sure also that we're being accountable to one another, and also understanding this isn't about me, okay? It's about the greater good of the organization and the greater good of our team. Because if we do it together, there's a lot of things that we can achieve together.
Next to Nate Taylor. Go ahead, Nate.
Hey, Eric, I know you mentioned earlier about not wanting to address exactly the new player that you guys added on, but you did mention the ability to add new talent to an already, talented group. Can you share what the reaction has been in the locker room of guys knowing that not only are you trying to win this week, but your organization from Brett Veach and his staff have made a point to add as much talent around to the group? Can you just explain what the dynamic has been in the locker room?
You know what, Nate? And I don't want this to come off a bad way. I haven't even had a chance to even sit down and have that discussion with anyone, because you may not notice, but our day is around the clock. So each and every moment I'm focusing on what do we need to do in order to make sure that we're ready for Sunday. So there's some game planning that's involved. On top of that, there's some little things that we need to make sure that we're ironing out as a coaching staff, and making sure we're knocking out all the details and make sure that we're ready and primed for practice, our walkthrough, and then post-practice, and then tonight's prep. So, unfortunately, I haven't had that chance to talk to anyone, but whenever Coach and Veach do what they do, we'll address that issue. But my focus right now is making sure we can get back on track.
Time for a couple more guys. We're going to go Sam and then Darren. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, that was actually my question, Brad, so I'm good.
Great. We'll shift to Sarin.
Good seeing you, Sam.
Sarin, go ahead.
Just real quick, housekeeping first, Coach. I know you said you don't want to talk about Le'Veon and everything. Does that, just to confirm, does that mean he won't be part of anything? There's not enough time to get him ready to go this week?
You know what? With all the protocols that's taking place, I have no idea.
Okay.
We're living in the COVID age.
Sure.
So whatever's going to take place, I'm going to allow those guys to take care of that.
Okay.
And like I said, I don't want to come off standoffish, but I just want everybody to understand the only thing that we're worried about is making sure that we can function today.
I understand. I just didn't know if there was an official, designation or anything that on how it would work. All right. So then I know Adam talked about Sammy being out and how much more productive you've been with Sammy. And we talked to McCole, and McCole, talked about how, well, I'm not as big as Sammy. I probably not as good a blocker. Coach called Sammy like a low post, center with kind of the things he can do being a big physical wide receiver. What are the things that McCole can do maybe that Sammy can't? Like what, and how do you try to accentuate? I know you're always trying to get the strengths of every player out there. So what are the things that he can do that maybe Sammy can't do?
You know what, and just what you said, I think all of them bring a little bit of something special to the table. McCole has some explosive speed. He does some things that everyone can't do. So one thing that we love with McCole, when that ball is in his hands, I mean, he finds a way to make things happen. The thing that we always want to do is find ways to get him in space, and find creative ways to get the ball in his hands. But one thing I will say, he has done a heck of a job of being a good blocker. So I don't know why he's taking that away from himself, because he does have that attitude and that determined mindset. The thing I'm looking forward to is watching him handle, the play-to-play situation, because now he's being thrusted into that role. Now he has to be productive for a high percentage of time throughout the duration of the course of the game. So we're counting on him to do some things, and we're counting on some other guys to step up, all right, to contribute as well.
Let's go last to Darren. Go ahead, Darren. Oh, Darren, we can't hear you.
Darren, where you at, man?
All right, Darren.
Is this any better? Can you hear me now?
We got you.
Sorry about that, Coach. First of all, good afternoon to you. Couple quick questions that basically dealing with the running back situation. What are you expecting from Clyde this Sunday? We know about the big signing that was announced a couple of days ago. But if you're Clyde, what are you looking to do this Sunday, knowing that you may have a new teammate coming in, and also in that running back room itself? Darwin Thompson had a big fumble a few weeks ago against Baltimore. Hasn't seen the field since, it looks like. And then, of course, now you bring in somebody else in who not ask you to address on that. But what's the psyche of those running backs, knowing that you got somebody else that's going to push you further down on the depth chart that may not allow you to see the field?
Oh, one thing to address Clyde real quick. I had a talk with Clyde earlier today. And one thing I talked to Clyde about is just focusing on improving at something, improving on 3 things per day. What are those 3 little things that you need to focus on that's going to help you to become the most productive player as possible? And those 3 things may repeat itself throughout the course of the season. But I just want him to focus on the little things, because he's a talented kid. He plays hard. He does a great job of reading the runs out. He's done a heck of a job of understanding what we're doing in blitz protection and doing a good job of picking those up. He's done a heck of a job as a receiver out of the backfield. So we just want to continue with his growth process. You got to understand, this is a rookie, and he just completed week 5. So he's doing a heck of a job. Now, in this profession, okay, one thing I always tell guys, don't ever worry about the things that you can control. Worry about the things that you can control. Let's make sure that we're making the very most of the opportunity that is being presented to us. And then we keep it moving. We keep it moving, because, this is a team that we're looking to always make sure that we're keeping our pockets loaded, because we want to be at our best at all times.
Coach, we appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, guys. We'll have Frank Clark coming our way shortly. Okay, Frank is coming our way in a second here. Sid, can you tilt our camera up just a little bit?
Get my mask down.
You can either take it off or you can just put it down.
There you go. All right, Frank, you ready for us?
Yes.
All right, let's start with Sam McDowell. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Frank. Just wondering what the response is from the defense as far as mentally and approach, because I know you guys probably weren't happy with the way you played Sunday. What's been the response early this week?
Just all work, and that's all we can do. Had a tough week last week out there. Wasn't the best effort, wasn't the best performance we could have had as a whole. But yeah, just came in with a fresh mindset. You got a lot of season left, 10+ games, man. So when you got that many games left in the season, and you really look at it and you're like, man, I only played 5 games. It's so much more left to it. So much more you got to do. You're going to see teams that was winning. You're going to see teams that was doing pretty good. You're going to start seeing them fall off. You're going to see teams that was, doing, pretty bad. You're going to start seeing them make a turn. So it's just NFL season.
Go next to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey, Frank, it seems like Josh Allen in particular embraces and welcomes being out of structure. How do you balance the contain while also trying to get to the passer and rush and just try not to over pursue?
Just stopping the run first. When I stop the run, I don't got to think about all that's 50%, chance that I don't got to think about, doing one job. So once we're able to do that, then we can rush the passer and have fun on that level. I feel like, when you start thinking too far ahead, you don't give enough credit to that running back, and what he's been able to do for the offense as well, running and catching the ball. You gotta take into account for everything like that.
Let's go next to Aaron Ladd. Go ahead, Aaron.
Frank, when you look at your front office always looking to make moves and the addition of Le'Veon Bell, what's the initial response to that in the locker room?
I mean, everything, how it go, man. A lot of stuff's out of our control. You just can hope for the best, in certain situations like that, always, for a guy like him, who, of course, everyone has knowledge of and knows about, you just hope the best for the situation. But, that's not out of my control, man. I'm just a player here. He gets in, that'd be dope. That'd be exciting. But, like we say, man, the pen's not, dry yet. You still got to, play out all type of things on that end and the paperwork side. So, just hope for the best and, continue to keep our head straight, keep our head on together for this Monday Night Football game.
Go next to Soren Petro. Go ahead, Soren.
Frank, I'm curious. After the game, Chris Jones said they had a lot of new formations with the Raiders that maybe you guys hadn't seen. How much did that contribute, do you think, to your guys, maybe being not quite as quick as you've looked through those first 4 games?
It contributes a lot, but at the end of the day, football is football. You line up, you win the play or you lose that play, and then at the end of the day, you grade it. You either lose so many or you win so many, and that's the determining factor. Before the first half was up, we had gave up so many big plays on defense. I believe that one of the receivers had two catches for over like 100 yards. And what 4 or 5 big runs or whatever. Well, they ended up finishing the game. We kind of had held them, under that before. But, we just let the game get out of hand, as we have in previous times when we say, well, you got to come here and stop the run. You got to come here and execute on that level. And that's something that we wasn't able to do. We let a lot of big plays happen. Both their running backs had fairly good games, I would say. And, we let Derek Carr do what he does. That tight end had a great game. And we just, you got to move on. Like I said, season's long, man.
Looks like we've got time for 3 more quick ones. Let's go Todd Lebo, Darren, and then Harold. Go, Todd.
Hey, Frank, you kind of mentioned effort. You felt like it wasn't maybe the greatest during part of that Raiders game. How much is that a factor during the long grind of the season, especially when you're facing an opponent that the team had done very well against? Do you take things for granted sometimes? Is that just human nature?
I don't think so. I think sometimes guys get tired. Sometimes, the effort is, and I wouldn't say the effort isn't there. Sometimes it's just the plays. Sometimes you might not execute something as well because you probably didn't work it as much, that week in practice, or you probably didn't, think you would, that call would be as important as it may, have been. But it's just things like that. It's understanding that on one of the lighter day practices on the short week, how much execution, how important that is, how important it is to execute when you don't have pads on in practice, stuff like that, where you're initially getting, that contact, you're getting those hits, you're getting that, that live game speed, so that when Sunday comes, it's a lot slower for you. But, when you struggle, you have a lot of these difficulties with changes and different stuff going on. And you got our coaches trying to do everything they can to protect us and get us 100% for that next game. Sometimes stuff like that happens. Like I said, it's football. We knew coming into this season it was going to be challenging. You coming off a championship winning season, and everybody wants to beat you. So,
go to our final two. We'll go Darren and the Herald. Go, Darren.
Frank, first of all, good afternoon to you. Hope all is well with you, man. I know the defense is a prideful bunch. I know you all felt that you didn't play a great game against the Texans, giving up, 14 points towards the end, and then obviously the Chargers. But you all played exceedingly well when you faced off against the Baltimore Ravens. This is a team that people are saying is an ascension, could be an AFC Championship game matchup. Do you feel that you all may or may not play up to or down to the level of competition, and then following that, just have you early voted yet?
No, I don't feel like we play down or up to competition, depending on who we play. I think it's just it's more of a controlled effort on our part. Honestly, we don't really think about other teams that far like that. Like, we don't really look at other teams like, or they weak, or it's a stronger team on our schedule, or they got this person on their team. We don't never look at that. We put everybody in the same category. It's just a football team who we got to go out there and give our best. If we don't, it can beat us. Simple. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's what happened last week. We'll feel like, are we the better team? Yes. But did we lose that game? And were they the better team that day? Yes, they did lose. I mean, they were, because they executed better. They did their job, and they won their individual matchups better. And that's the name of the game, is who can win their individual matchups and dominate, on that end.
Darren, did you have a follow-up there, Darren?
Yeah, I'm just asking, just if he's had a chance to early vote yet. I know, with the time frame, so just if you're in any of his team has had a chance to early vote.
Oh, I didn't hear the early vote part. Okay. No. I'm not sure what some of the guys have done. I know it's been a large effort on our side as far as just doing different things and getting people to get in and make sure they're registered before the deadlines and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't really speak too much far into that. I don't know people's political views and how they do that. But myself personally,
have you early voted?
No, I plan on it though. Okay. No, not at all. I plan on it though. I was just watching the ad last night on YouTube, tripped out how they doing all this campaign and stuff, man. They be dogging each other.
Let's go last to Harold Kuntz. Go ahead, Harold.
I agree.
I was watching the campaign like, oh, they getting crazy out here now. They took to Twitter.
Hey,
I said, they all on Twitter beefing.
I work on local news. I have to see 3-4 ads per break. It's crazy.
Oh, I'm tired of the ads. I'm trying to pay to get them off my YouTube. Listening to the oldies. I'm trying to jam and stuff late night. They done popped on Barbara, somebody talking about she supporting somebody. I said, oh man, I gotta go. Cut YouTube off.
Well, I'll follow this up with the football side of it. I'm going to go back to revert to week one. After week one, Tyrann Mathieu said pissed off. And when you play a game that you did against, especially a guy with Colton, which you had faced with the Seahawks, had some success against, didn't have success against on Sunday. Do you get more pissed off with Steve Spagnuolo saying the walkthrough was one of the best walkthroughs he's seen since he's been here? It just makes you more P's and Q's when it comes into the next game?
Yeah, you have to, because like I said, it's hard to go through that week and you're not really practicing, you know what I mean? Like you want to, just executing those things that that needs time. And, a lot of stuff in football is time. It's contact, it is contact, but it's like, how often can I get my hands on this man and beat him? How often can I, how physical can I be? And like I said, when you take some of that off, it can affect the game. It's gonna affect the game. But when you can, it's who can battle through that, through those adverse situations, because we're not the only team that's going through it. It's everybody in the league, you know, it's I'm sure it's other teams going through similar stuff as well. But you know, just who can battle through it. You just watch not to speak on any other team, but you just watch the team in Tennessee go down after everything they've been going through, and you know, play a very good football game the other night. You know, and they've been going through all type of adversity. So stuff like that, man, we just got to be able to battle through these adverse situations, understand what's to come, understand there's going to be maybe other changes in the future, and just be more prepared and more ahead of it than that team.
Frank, we appreciate you joining us. Thanks for the time.
I appreciate you guys.
All right, guys, that is it for today. Let me hit our button here, and if you guys have any questions,